would you look at that? Hello again there, friends and fans. Raptor here, and welcome back to Automation Empire, where the Empire is growing strong. You haven't missed anything. That was our last episode of the Desert Planet, as I was getting my feet under me to understand exactly how the game worked, and to kind of see how the systems and upgrades unlocked and everything else. So we've gone to a beautiful, beautiful new map here, and glory to Raptoria. Make sure you spam that down below in the comment section, and make sure you click that like button if you'd like to see more too. Lots of people are disliking because, you know, they don't want to see the learning process, and that frustrates them, but that's all a part of life and all a part of some games. We've really learned a lot here and are making some really intricate systems in this whole new map. So welcome back to all of you, and thanks as always for your incredible support. We've got ourselves a basic coal refinery process plant here going on, making just regular coal, shipping that out as we're getting ready to really not really do much at all with coal, but we're going to go over to gold. So what we have down here is an upgrade section where we're going to build a factory to basically process iron, so that way I can unlock a few things needed. Under our unlock tab here, we need to unlock a combiner eventually in order to make steel and such, and that'll help us to make more money out of the already existing materials here. But all the way over in this corner of the map is that lovely, lovely gold. Trillions, billions of dollars, who knows, worth of gold over here. We're going to truck that all the way back to our main section here. So our goal for the, I guess, remaining or new episodes is to basically build a factory here for gold, and then build another iron mine, or rather steelworks over here, so that way we can utilize the rest of the resources and continue upgrades. Now, in order to unlock other things, we are going to need things like gold fuel and whatnot, so we are going to have to pump some things into this research center from elsewhere. So right now we were basically just doing a little bit of coal. There's a little bit coming in, and we don't really need to do it too much anymore, but it's still generating delicious, delicious research points for us. So eventually we'll switch this over to be iron or something like that at a later time. We'll probably just use this train here to transport it back and forth. We'll figure out a way to do it, but I've got it set up to pick up and drop off as needed. So we'll get to that a little bit later. But don't worry about the coal factory or anything. Any of its inefficiencies, it doesn't matter. It's just here to make us a little bit of money and also some research points so we can focus on the new stuff, which is gold and, of course, oil. Up here on this other side, we've got a little bit more iron ore going. No, I mean coal. We've got basic coal going over there, being shipped to a train. And then we've got some more iron ore being brought in from here as well. So I've got one train bringing it from all the way over there to here. And then we got this big O train. I say train, but it's really mine carts. But you could just call it a train because it kind of functions like one being loaded up here. There's a lot of iron ore. I mean, coal. Sorry. A lot of coal. I mean, iron ore. I should say coal ore, but that's a weird concept to me because I usually have only known coal in games. But it's iron. No, sorry. Unrefined coal, so otherwise known as coal ore. Chlor, there we go. We're just going to call it chlor. So the chlor is coming in and being shipped here, where I'm also making a little extra money from basically just shipping out the raw ore, because I don't have all the time in the world to build a factory one out. So I made this over the course of a couple of hours, just kind of doing the upgrades, building 2 roads, and getting everything situated for our eventual advance. It's also good that we're in this new map too, because we have water that we can use. In the other map, I don't think we would have been able to get water at all, so we wouldn't have been able to see that. So even if we had our factory fully upgraded, or rather fully built, we wouldn't have had it fully upgraded, and that's no good for me. So thank you very much for all the support and cheering me on. So many great people giving feedback, so thank you very much for just blowing up the like button and all the patience and such as we got through that learning I guess portion. That learning section was pretty cool. All right, so we see everything looking pretty good here to deliver it over to this mine, or from this mine, and things are looking rather good. We're making quite a bit of money. So what I'd like to do now is start by building our iron ore slash smelting facility to make steel. We'll eventually do that, but first we have to make iron ore, and then we'll have to upgrade the facility once we've done that by unlocking additional research. So first is first. We will refine iron ore into iron, and then start shipping it to the research centers, and then eventually working on to building a gold factory here. Eventually, I think we'll build a giant mill here for iron, a giant steelwork, as there's lots of steel up here too, and lots of regular coal that we can bring in and possibly reroute that to another factory here. So we could do like a we could do a coal factory attached to the steel mill to have kind of a steel mill mix, and then we could just do coal only as well, and then iron ore only, just to kind of do things in the prerequisites required. Like, for example, we need to do, like I said, the 50 iron needs to be delivered before we can get the next thing unlocked. So let's get to it then. Let's get cracking. There's a few looks at our upgrades too, but I want to save a lot of those research points for later things. And we've already claimed all those points, so let's go. All right, time to build another factory. Now this has been a lot of fun. I've been able to focus more. When you're recording a video, it's a lot different because you're trying to keep action moving and you're trying to think of new stuff and trying to do things on the fly. But since I was kind of more relaxed when I was building this, it created much more of a good environment for creativity, and so I was able to much more effectively take use of time and space. So what we're going to do is we're going to have our iron ore facilities deliver the iron ore up to here, where eventually I'll probably reroute it into the factory. And this is actually a good thing here in order to switch between the two. So I might be able to build this track going inside the factory. In fact, I think I wanted to actually lay out the factory flush with this, so that way we can put these two together. But actually with this other train here, we can reroute it to go elsewhere and do other things. Okay, well let's get to it then. Do we have enough power to do this? We have 61 electricity. Looks like the factory is connected. So we're going to get started now by building a very expensive setup of crate makers and refiners. So one thing that I learned too, by the way, that I'd like to jump over here and show off. I used to have actually the whole train coming in here, and I rerouted it to make more local deliveries. But one thing I realized is that I could do all the storage inside the buildings and have it connect to from the storage pipe or from the storage container to the pipe to the crate machine and then to the factory itself, the refiner inside the factory. So that's a big thing we can do. Now, I've done that on a small scale, and doing that on a bigger scale is going to be very interesting, especially when we have remote connectors that can pipe things in underground, and that's going to be really, really cool. So let's see. The first thing we have is iron ore here. So let's get ready with our mine. We need a resource coming in order to process this for initial research, and then we could probably bring in some resources from elsewhere, maybe over here across the river. Oh, perfect. There's actually 2 plots there as well. So I'll be able to grab all those and bring them over here and do iron ore only, and then we'll do our steel mill up there. So that seems to be a pretty good bet, I think. All right, let's go ahead and start with our mining. And yeah, we're going to put these mines down first. They won't have any power. We'll just get everything set up first to transport it inside. The first thing is kind of a puzzle to me. It's always like figuring out how to get all these hooked up by putting down. It's a little tricky, but essentially I want to make everything connect to the railroad tracks. So I think we could have the track run by there. Now we just want to make sure all the piping goes the right direction. So it's going to be a little frustrating, but we'll get it. Let's see here. Just takes a little bit to kind of... Mostly for me it's trial and error, because I can't always see the right way to do it until it's too late, I wanted to say, but until I can't do anymore. And actually having extra capacity of storage is never a bad thing in this game. If you have too much storage, that's never really a bad thing. Alright, I think we've actually done it correctly. If I do this and get rid of these 2 and then switch this one to a small one, so it looks like this one will feed to the big one, and then this one should be able to feed to this other big one. So if we connect everything up correctly, we should then be able to feed to the train when it drops by. There might be other ways to do this. I want this one to go around here though, because it just looks nice. Plus I'll add some more stuff to these facilities too. We can make a rail yard in the middle. So to have all of our rail going this way will be nice for if we ever have to organize things again. So you can see my skills are starting to get a little bit better. I kind of was able to rework all the issues from before by trial and error of finding out like what's the capacity of drones, are they truly efficient, both in terms of expense and whatnot. And we were making a lot of money in the other map, but we weren't really making too much in terms of progress, or at least it looked sloppy, and it was nice to restart. So I'm happy to be here now to do things even better the second time around. So thank you, everybody who was so patient and lovely. I really do appreciate that. Okay, we've got a weird section here where I think we got to build another big container. Let's see the best way to do this one. Let's see. Best part of waking up. All right, let's try. Now, we can't fill that into another miner. That's the trouble. We can't have the mines connect. They have to go directly into the piping. Oh, and actually, we built our big building red. Oh, no, can I change the color? I kind of wanted to change it to like a gray color or something like that, like steel. Red because coal is smelt or burned. Actually, I can rebuild the factory anytime. Let's just go ahead and delete that. It's easy. All right, perfect. And we'll get our things set up here. All right, so I want to build on the left side because the factory is over there. So I could put it here, maybe. Oh, that actually might work. Let's see. We'll have to move that power line out of the way. Let's see. I know this is facing the wrong way. We're just going to test it real quick to see if the measurements line up. And indeed they do. All right, that'll be perfect. So let's go ahead and get this all sorted out. Shut down the miners for just a few minutes until we got all of our there we are. Our rail cars connected. It's going to take a little bit to do that because that is going to be a really fun project. All right, there we go. So that's about the best I can do. There might be other ways to do it, but that one seems to be the slickest for now. Now, another thing we need to consider, too, is that the trains, if we have a long train, it'll actually need to pass by, it'll have to pass by the pipe that comes out. So we'll need to make sure that we have the correct number of, the correct length, I guess, the number of blank spaces past that. I'll show you what I mean in a second here. Let's just lay out the rest of the track. So, for example, if our train here happens to be 8 cars long, then we'll just need to make sure that all 8 cars can get under this. Otherwise, we can just build another container and extend it a little bit just to get the extra range. Because right now, space is a little limited on our in our train world. So, let's see. We'll start with that and see if it does well. All right, let's connect our power lines back up, and we should be fine. Oh, did that not connect? Oh, it was off just by a hair. Try that again. That should be good there. Perfect. All right, everything looks connected right about, well, not yet, I guess. One more little connection there. Perfect. All right, so now our train can go inside the facility or up here as needed. Looks like we didn't build it flush against the other train tracks, so now we can move our factory around. Now that the ore processing, or rather ore mining facility is done, now we can start focusing up here, where it's really important to make sure that we build I guess a factory that's as big as possible. So let's go with, let's see, the gray one. Excellent. So the gray one we'll know is steel, the red one is coal, and then this just kind of looks cool. Even if we don't end up using this, it kind of looks neat to see the 2 tracks like that. And also, I totally forgot to mention, the developers wrote me an email, and they said to me, hey, our game was accidentally starting on the lowest setting, so you might actually notice the game looking more beautiful. So if you compare this to like some of our first videos, the game has always looked this beautiful. The developers just kind of like had to throw a switch to make it look prettier. They were like, oh hey, we saw your videos and things look great, but it's not looking as pretty as it could. And I was like, hey, what do you mean by that? And they said, oh, the graphics, we fixed it. And it's like, okay, you win this round, developer. All right, let's make sure everything is pointing the right direction here. Looks like it's good for now. And we've got, by the way, all the combined storage space here all does add up together. So, for example, if you have 120 times 3 plus 40, all those numbers together plus the 10 capacity of each mine is its total capacity for storage. So it really does the math in the long run. All right, well, now it's time to do the thing I fear the most, which is trying to build ourselves a ore processing plant. We'll start with just a small plant, just to do things for the research centers, and we'll see if we can actually get them some stuff here. So here's my plan. Here, I'm going to be able to stop coal from coming in, and we're going to switch it to iron ore by having this train pick up some iron ore from over here. So I'm going to figure out some sort of way in order to fill this train with additional iron ore and stop just doing the pure coal. Right now it's bringing extra coal from over on this side, so that way it can be brought into the facility. Right now all of this is being stored here and then being brought into the facility over here to the additional train that's loading in. So this train stops both at this section, which brings in from the long train from over there, and then also brings in from this other section on the other side of the building. Pretty slick. And then this is probably more than likely full, and these are probably more than likely close to empty. So yeah, most of our capacity right now is just going to shipping it out raw, because I didn't spend all the time in the world doing that. But we can get a whole coal facility going a whole nother time. That's just a nice, good basic start to make us some good cash. So we're going to try to model things after this in order just to make the iron ore. So let's do iron ore first, because we know that that's all the research centers need. And I think what we'll probably try to do is maybe I could have it swing in here into the middle of the factory and deliver, so that way the boxes come out on the right side of the screen. And then when they do, I should be able to, actually not the boxes, but we'll be able to convert them back into coal, and then somehow pipe it up here to the train and then have it shipped up that way. So we'll have to find some sort of way to convert that over, and it'll be just fine. Too bad there's not a way to cross the train tracks with piping. It'd be really easy to like make an elevated pipe and then just go to the other side so we can exchange. But there are more parts and such coming to the game soon. I feel so accomplished that we have so much more done and more learned. Okay, well, let's start. I'm going to do this in reverse. I think that might be the best way for me to learn how much space I'm going to need by how far it needs to go. So let's try to, yeah, we want to put it out to the right side of the screen. So let's start at the bottom. just to, or maybe we should take it from the top. We'll take it from the top, and we'll start over here. I'm going to leave a little bit of space for extra machinery I might be forgetting, and make sure that we just put it, oh, and also conveyor belts. So it's a good idea to kind of just build stuff a little bit of a way. We're going to build things in a little bit of spacing too. I'll build 4 to start with. We do need crates. Crates are required in order to do that, so we can't pipe them in directly. They have to be with these machines. So 4 out of 4 are down now. And now we're going to start filling in the piping behind that. So now we can start a storage container behind that. So it looks like each one of these can actually feed 1 machine, so that's kind of cool. So if we want to do this, we can feed 2 that way. These 2 just won't be able to connect because there's not enough space between. But that's okay. We can have an extra storage tank system behind here that picks up from the train. So we can actually have the train... Oh, actually, that's going to be a problem because the train needs a little bit of length to get under those storage tanks. So we can have it come back around and then go that way if we need it to. So it'll be kind of weird, but it'll work. Besides, this is, again, just temporary until we complete our research goal. However, we could expand upon this facility or reorganize it in order to use this iron ore and this coal in order to start our first little steel facility, probably back over, I don't know, maybe here right next to it. So that way we can take coal, iron ore, and then boom, we can make steel out of it. We can send it across if we want to. And then we're going to do gold over there. Gold is going to be a big day, but I'm really excited to show off all the improvements we've made to our map. It's all about keeping going, and I appreciate everyone's support. It looks like I'm a little too close here. It is hard to see with these tanks whether or not you're too close or not close enough. Here it looks like there's a little bit of space, but you do have to go back by 1, so that should be actually what we want. Actually looks too wide to me, but it's perfect. So let's make sure everything's connected. Alright, good. Now let's finish up the train. Usually what I like to do is do the train first inside the factory before I send it outside, so that way I know exactly where it's going. I think if we start with 4, that's about the size of this facility. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's about the same. So I'm going to do 1 more set just to see if we can process the iron ore a little faster. Looks like we've got quite a bit stored there, and it does take some time to process it. And as you see, we have a gargantuan amount of overflow here. But I want to try to make sure we're over capacity here, meaning that if we burn it too quickly, that's a good problem to have, because then we can take contents from elsewhere. Like, for example, new mines. So let's try to make this as long as possible. There we go. And we can actually make a drop-off section here to feed into those pipes. I'll show you what I mean in a second. What I can do is build containers behind in order to connect them via the pipes, but it'll speed up the train in terms of dropping off. One of the problems with the trains is that if they have to stop every single time in order to load with cargo, of course, then they can only go so far. Looks like we've got... actually, this is more than enough. Let's start with just these. If we go with 1 more, you can see how expensive these facilities are too, so you can understand now why I've got such a large economy kind of set up in order to accommodate such a expensive operation. Right now this is only an expense because we're not actually exporting or doing anything with this iron ore. So I'll go ahead and cut the train tracks here with an intent to maybe use this track some other time, or at least to make things look cool. I don't know. We'll figure it out. And then we got to turn into the factory. So let's build our little minecart factory here. And I'm going to try to make it... I don't think I can execute a turn that tightly. Let's see. If I put a door here, factory door, if we put it, it has to be there. So let's see where the train can turn to. It's probably going to be here. I'm also aware, too, that the higher that the tracks are, the faster that everything goes. But at this moment, we're working at a pretty decent efficiency. So I don't need to be too much faster. Of course, I can always upgrade the trains, too. Building the track elevated, I think, is more expensive, so I saved myself a little bit of money and time by just going for the cheaper option and then using the extra research to get them going as fast as possible with extra research. Alright, so what I want to do here is, instead of having the train stop at each container, I'm going to try to connect the train, or rather the containers to the train this way. So I'm going to try to have a system. I wish I could spread these out a little bit more, but the more spread out these tanks are, the less space that we're using. So I'm going to try to do this way. Actually, each container is $10,000, so that's pretty spendy, but at least it'll save the train on the stop. We want it to move quickly because there's quite a bit already in storage there, so we want to make sure that that's all going good. Let's see if I was able to set these up evenly. Oh, we're out of money now. Alright, now what we're going to do is, once we got the cash, I'm going to connect each of these with a 1 length pipe, and then we'll also have to do an intake pipe over here, probably on the side, so that way the train can pull up as it comes in. But again, this facility will more than likely be modified later, so the more time and energy we put into building it, it's just going to get deleted anyway. So we may as well just kind of, you know, scoot along as quickly as possible. Alright, we're going to connect each of these up. There's many different ways you can lay out the pipes, which is kind of cool. You can custom make each factory to be different. If all your factories were the same, they would kind of look a little bland, I guess. And it'd be nice then if the developers made a copy-paste thing. But that would kind of take the fun out of the game. If you could just make a factory and then just copy and paste them when you had the money, it kind of defeats the whole purpose of laying everything out. In fact, the game may as well play itself, and you may as well call it Automation Empire. Oh, wait. Okay. Well, now we've got, let's see, just a need for a few more crates. I still need a lot more cash in order to put out the conveyor belts, and then probably have a claw system in order to pick that up. Now, what I could do is over here, we've got a really unique system that delivers it to this section and then the other section if it gets full. So the basically, I didn't want any drones sitting around doing nothing. So I tried to maximize the amount of, I guess, usability of my drones by just taking all this extra overflow. Eventually, we'll use all this coal, and this system is perfect for refining more coal to make our steel mill. But I figured, hey, let's make some extra money, and that's exactly what it's supposed to do. Ah, there we are. The train in action there. Sucking up as much of it as it can, but unfortunately, looks like it's a little full. I do have to turn this on and off on occasion. As soon as this gets empty, then I kind of switch back and forth, so I just kind of have to monitor it for the time being. And that's kind of why we're out of cash, I think. Or not out of cash, but a little low on money. Is that everything's kind of backed up. Alright, so we spent over $250,000 building this giant factory over here. So now we need to start making some money from it. Luckily, wow, this thing's almost completely full here. We've got almost halfway capacity on each of the containers. And then we're just going to drop it off here. I don't know how big our train's going to be, but we can at least start moving some of that stuff in here. So let's get that going. And we'll try to make the train that long. And then it'll stop at every single cart. And each cart holds four iron ore. So it should be able to move in quite a good amount before we're even ready with our operation here. We still need about, I think it was $15,000 per. So we need about another $60,000 plus the piping system, plus a crane system above that. And I tried to make as much money as I could, but oh boy, it's yeah, it goes away as quickly as it comes in now, since we're building new factories. It was self-sufficient. As soon as you add on to your factory, boy, it all disappears. Well, we're making good progress now. All the trucks are starting to leave with all their goods. I've, as you see, I've added 2 highway lanes and also pimped out the trucks as fast as I can. They're at negative 7.5 for their spawning speed, and then also the robots are at its top speed, and same with the minecarts. They've been upgraded a little bit too, so not too bad there. Okay, let's go ahead and just lay out the rest of the pipes, and this should be fine. Excellent. Kind of weird how the pipes connect like that. To me, it always looks like it's not going to touch, but it actually kind of just pops right in there, almost like when you put like a screw or something in. Oh, perfect. We already see these starting to fill up. I could probably make like a minecart that's, you know, swings in and goes this way, but I don't know. It doesn't really need to be that fast. To be honest, we can only go as fast as these machines are processing, so if we go a little extra length, that's totally fine. Plus, this gives me more space here to store and make the train longer if I need to. So if I add another container here, we then add another loader here, and then we can actually continue to almost infinitely increase the loading capacity of the train, which means that when I start bringing in iron ore from over here and here, we could make this a giant hub to pick up all the other iron ore coming in from off map, or I guess away from this factory, and then just have this train be the one that shuttles it inside, and so we might need greater capacity. So it's a good idea to do that in the future. Alright, we're losing out on cash, I see, because we're taking our sweet time. So let's just go ahead and get some of that money back. Money back guarantee here. And we'll let these tanks fill up, but I think we got to start doing some business here. We got to get some money. So let's go ahead and at least make some cash out of this. I'm going to make some unload stations here. And actually, what I'd like to do is somehow find a way to bring it up to the trucks, because we're going to have a lot more than what we actually need. Wow, look, whoa, these research centers were all up, fully ready to go. Excellent. They had a full load of research. Excellent. Okay, next is combiner, what I want to do for a steel mill eventually. And then we'll see if we can do trains, but that's going to require gold and steel plates. So that's exactly why we're going to build the steel mill and the gold processing plant, so we can get trains and really start exporting things with literally no delay. You can see with the trucks how long it takes them to go, and also if one truck is leaving the map, the trucks come to a stop, and they have to wait for the other one to despawn. So there's a real bottleneck. I can make infinite amount of highways, but why do that when we could just build like one train and be good to go? All right, we want to make a possible claw system to bring this up here to the same little doodad over here. That might be a good idea. And then we can offload anything and just put it onto the trucks for some quick cash. And then also bring some over here. We'll work on the research site delivery last, because that's going to be like an expense. We want money making. We want money making right now. So let's see if we can. I wonder, can the claw pick up from? I can't remember if a claw can pick up from a. Let's see, drop off stop. Can pick up a load unload. Okay, so it needs a load or an unload station. So let's make these a little longer than what we would. Probably like let's see. So we'll probably make this by 2 each. It'll be a little expensive, but we got to do it. We need a little extra room for the claw system. So I think that's a pretty inexpensive way. If I make a claw system that swings in, picks up crates, and brings it up here, we can just start siphoning up some quick cash without too much trouble. Ah, good. Look at this. The wonderful iron ore processing plants are already starting to produce iron rather than iron ore. Alright, let's see if we can make some walls that go in and out of here. So you can actually build windows, quote-unquote windows at the very top that go in and out of facilities. We'll go ahead and put one right there. It's kind of hard to see. Like, you literally can't see it unless you click off the building. But now we know that we can bring a claw train inside here. We can put one that comes in and goes out. Or we can do a one-way shuttle. Actually, if we do a one-way shuttle, it'll be more affordable. But that might be a bad thing in the long run, keeping it cheap. But we'll build one line first to make some cash, because we need money in order to build our dreams. We can build anything, but we need the money. And look at that, very inexpensive. Wow, $2,000, and we're already outside the factory. Not bad. And then we'll do another. I think we'll do a section here for this claw machine to pick up. So what I could do is have our claw machine drop there, and then do another pickup site. So let's try this. We'll do a pickup stop here. Alright, and then we'll have a drop-off site underneath here. Now, to stay with me, we're going to do a load station. Drones can be set to drop. I think we want to unload. I can't remember exactly what type it needs to be in order to pick up. Is it unload? It's an unload station. Okay, so we're going to swing this in under here. One more. There we go. Oh, actually, I think I went one too far. So it can go right in front of that one. Perfect. So it's going to be grabbing mostly iron ore, or rather a coal ore, but then we'll grab our completed and refined iron in just a moment. Oh, man, I'm starting to feel just so good that I experimented with everything and learned it, by just doing it a different way. Maybe the wrong way, but a way that actually seemed to pan out and did okay. All right, we want to, let's see, build one here. Oh, they took all my money. Let's see here. Gonna need to build this at some point. We just need another truck or two to come through. Now I have to figure out a way to make this actually unload effectively. What I could do is extend the length of that conveyor. Well, the way I have it right now, only one claw would be able to grab at a time, and that would be wildly inefficient. So we do need to make a loop in order for a train to go in and out of here, or at least have it come back. So let's try to make a loop here. Let's see how tight we can make that loop. As close as the other one. Yep. Alright, so we can have a in and out system, which is totally fine. Okay. Alright, so we'll need to make another door there to get inside the factory. Having just a little money shortages now, but that's why delivering this is super important and critical. Glory to Raptoria. Oh, man. We're doing it. I can't believe it. Okay, second window is down. Perfect. So we'll have our system going there. This actually reminds me of the game Oddworld. If you remember Oddworld or Abe's Odyssey, where the Mudokons, I believe, were the bad guys. No, that was the good guys. I can't remember who the bad guys were, but they would use these claw systems and such to transport huge things of meat inside, outside the factories. Very interesting. Let's see here. The Mudokons were the good guys, but I can't remember who the bad guys were. They were just these big, basically big greedy dudes who would put profits before everything, basically. even each other. Okay, let's go ahead and put that there. All right. And then we're just going to try to circle it around. So it's always a good idea to save money where you can, but sometimes you just got to spend a penny, and even if you don't want to. There we go. All right, so let's see if this plan works out. Let's go ahead and pick up here. So we have 4 pickup sites. And let's see, they should be able to start dropping off the iron ore there now. And then I can extend this a little bit, so that way there's an unload station pretty much the whole way. Probably very expensive to build these, probably very unnecessary to build these, but this is just a temporary fix to just get some quick cash. While we're getting ready to focus on what we really want to, which is the gold. We want to focus all on the gold now. So let's go ahead and put a drop-off site here. So I actually have that one extended by one too many, I think. Maybe. We could probably build this one here, and then we could build pickup stations. We'll just make them to mirror this other. Actually, no, that has to be at the end, doesn't it? Yes, it has to be at the end, otherwise the claw won't be able to pick it up. It has to be at the very end of the line. Wow, it looks like they can't get enough coal ore now. Looks like they've made everything they can. Let's turn this one off. And let's see how much is being brought. Oh, wow, we're actually... Oh, wow, we're running out of... This site cannot make coal fast enough now, so we've certainly got more than enough for coal. Okay, let's try to see if this will work. So if it drops off... Let me just check this real quick. If it drops off here... I think... Can it drop off anywhere? I don't know if it can drop off at the beginning or the middle of a conveyor. I think it should be able to drop off here, but maybe not on a corner. I don't think it can drop off on a corner. So we'll put drop off here, and then we'll add 1, 2, 3, 4 more pickup zones. No, 1 more pickup zone. Yeah, I'm overcomplicating things. All right, we need a few more trucks to come through, and we should be good. Wow, look at the trucks just leaving. 4 of them right there. That's big money. Each one of those is around $7,000 to $8,000, so big money rolling through. There we go, 7. Okay, so we should have... Oh, very nice. All right, and each one of these is about 1,000. Perfect. The crane system, very affordable. Excellent. So that's a drop-off, right? Then we want to pick up here. All right, let's make that money. Let's see what we can do for a claw train. 2,000 each for a claw. So we'll see how many we can add for that. That big expense on our power bill. Now we're finally going to make something out of it. Excellent. We'll keep adding to the claw train. We can do research, too, to add more claws to the claw train. And right now, this was basically my solution to the, what is it, the, this thing, the transfer claw. So essentially, this is just a mass production transfer claw. And it looks like it's working. Excellent. Excellent. All right, we're starting to ship out our first iron ore. That'll make us much more money than the coal ore, but it still needs to be refined in order to bring in even more money. Actually, no, it is refined. Yeah, so that's bringing in even more money. What I mean by that is to make the steel plates. So now, what we can do is we can find a way inside this factory, inside the coal factory. We've actually got one of these guys working to ship it out into a container back out to the research sites here. So you can literally see raw coal comes in, goes down the line, gets processed into regular coal here, fills into the container, and then goes right back out to the research sites where it was being fed to finish some of the basic level research. But we don't need much coal anymore, so now we can switch this over to a miscellaneous track, and that's why I kind of have this other track here. So that way, perhaps, maybe in the future, I can switch some of these around, these train lines. Maybe I can build a bridge or something so they can go under each other and basically make it so any materials can come in here. In this game, the limitations around the research facilities are that you can't build them anywhere. So instead of having the research facilities go to the resource has to go to the research facilities. Makes sense. I was trying to cheese it before to see what the limitations of the game were, and it seems like you can do it. Wow, look at all that. Look at all that iron ore from just one site. We certainly need to produce more, don't we? More ore. More ore. There we go. All right, so we've got, yeah, this claw is like overloaded with stuff to do. That's awesome. It's delivering as much stuff as it can. I'll have to think of another way to make some cash as well, or rather make that more efficient. You know, maybe do another offload site. But again, building minimally has been saving me some good money. So now, what the real goal of today's episode is not really to worry about any of that system. We'll worry about making that better later. The main goal is to do exactly what I showed you earlier with the coal inside that factory being shipped over here to the research pod. So, I guess we'll work in reverse. So what we need to do is we need to have a some sort of a container filled with iron ore. The best way to do that... Also, why was I doing this? Oh, this was actually making extra... Oh yeah, that's right. This was making... Actually, let's turn that off. There we go. This was making extra coal crates out of the storage here, so that way I can empty it out. So anytime I get overfilled with something, instead of just, you know, deleting contents and losing out on the money, I just have the drones come over here and pick up any sort of excess, which was a long time ago. But it's good to keep for like an overflow system, which doesn't happen. It won't overflow, but at least I'll get my money for having materials in there. Okay, so how do we get things from here out here? Well, what we need to do first is probably build maybe one more processing unit in order to do solely that. Uh-oh, this crane is completely full again on the second pass. Oh yeah, there's a whole... Yeah, it's all bogged down over there, but that's okay. We're making good money, I think. It's not perfect, but we'll get there. So what I want to do is now, in my mind, think of how we're going to do this in reverse. What we want to do is get it to this facility, but this train track is in the way being used for the regular shipment of raw coal. So what we need to do is probably build... Let's see, something to get over there. Now, it could be a small cart, so what I probably could do is we need something to be here. And we could... looks like we're in a little bit too much of a pickle with space. I need to get something here. Maybe I could build a bridge. We don't have to have too many cars coming out here. Just one would do it. In fact, over here we have the one train car going back and forth. So let's go ahead and do this in reverse. So what we'll do is we'll build a train track here, and then a bridge, and then we'll build that bridge going inside this depot. So what I could possibly do is maybe have this boy here start dropping his crates off over here and convert it, and then have a train simply go deliver here, build a bridge, go across, and then come back down in another ramp. So that might actually work. So let's try laying out the track for that. We can build it right over here. And it shouldn't interfere over here on this side at all. I'll make the track one more longer than I need to. Sometimes it's a good idea just to use all the space you can. Then we'll go up the ramp, and we're going to deliver it to this facility here. So that's good. Okay, so we should be able to go inside. We can go over our existing railroad tracks. And we do need to build a window or a door to get inside there. So each one of these are 800 for the minecarts. Yeah, you can see my power bill is immense because we haven't yet fully completed this facility. Right now it's gobbling up a lot of power, but of course there's the system's not yet complete to maximize profits. It's kind of cool. Like when you go to build a new facility, you do need a lot of extra money. So it's kind of a neat thought of being like, oh, I have $1 million. This will be more than enough to... Nope, you need way more money than that in order to get anything done. So let's go ahead and build our ramp here, and then here, and then we'll have this one just pumping it out this way. So we'll reconfigure this one to do something different. Now, there's a way to load these trucks too, but I haven't yet researched that as well. So the crane, if I could, I'd be loading it directly, but it doesn't seem like it can do it yet. So let's go ahead and make sure these are on high here. I want to make sure there's enough capacity. In fact, I'll tell these drones to pick up from here too. Why not? There's no reason why they shouldn't be able to pick up from there. And then we'll make the coal onto medium, because coal's not going to be as profitable as the iron ore anymore. And the coal was just used for research at this point. But we will need that coal eventually to be put into storage, probably for the steel. I think that's really the only thing you're going to want it for eventually. So the drones can only pick up from here at the end of this line, or here at the end of this line. So we want to make sure we clear as much capacity as possible. There we go. Looks like our claw's a little happier now. He's able to move more material over. So the drones are allowed to pick it up from here. A little neat system to try to get things moving a little bit faster, but obviously not perfect. Okay, I recently took a poll on the channel as well to find out what everybody wanted to see in terms of like what they thought was the best idea for when building a factory or a city, and it's both functionality and efficiency. So you're not going to have 100% of efficiency, nor are you going to have 100% beautiful looking stuff. Sometimes you have to sacrifice functionality to make things look good, you know, just because you got to. And other times, whoa, and other times you got to tab out of the game. All right, let's see here. Oh boy. So let's see what we can do for that minecart. Looks like we're starting to make money. So at least my, I guess I'm able to walk the walk and talk the talk in terms of making things work a little bit. Okay, so now Let's make a door up top. Make a door here. Actually, you know what? Let's make the turn first, because if the track... if I can't get the track in here, it's going to be a bad time. We're going to have bad times, so we don't want that happening. So we want level 2. Make a turn. And it says we can't build here. And I'm wondering if that's because the factory wall is there. Like right there is that blinking light is the factory wall. So let's see if we can make a hole here and see what happens. We need to go up to the second level. Alright, let's see if floor 2... That seems to work. Let's make sure this is even. Back away from the factory for a second. Sir, back away from the factory. Oh, there we go. Okay. So hopefully this can go in. Just need to be at level 2. Aha, perfect. Alright, now we can make this drop down, let's say over here. Oh, it's going to have to be quite a wide turn, actually. We'll probably end up having the conveyor belt. We're going to have to do something in order to bring this down to ground floor, because that's where the containers have to be. Alright. Oh, actually, look at that. Symmetrical. Oh, there's the aesthetics we've been talking about. Cool. Okay. So now what I would like to do is to make a conveyor that goes back here, and then eventually a container that puts it onto there somehow. But I think we're out of space. Oh, yeah, we're out of space to do that. So what I could do is possibly... Oh, boy, we needed to load here. Well, we could delete this section here and just kind of move it up a little bit, give myself some more breathing room. But let's see. Yeah, if I made a... oh, wait a minute. Oh, this train... Okay, that train... Oh, wow, look at all that iron ore. Oh, boy. Okay. Yeah, we certainly need to be shipping out way more iron. Well, in order to do that, let's extend the crane. There we go. So that way you can grab a full load on the way out. Wow, almost. All but one. Very good. There goes that claw train. Super cool. Alright, well, profits are increasing, hopefully. Except for our power bill hits, and that's a big oof. So now we've got this ready for intake, so let's make sure this is good to go. Everything checks out outside. I thought that would be where the main trouble was going to be, but it seems like no. Okay, so let's get a cart running on this to make sure the concept works. Wow, look at them Tokyo drift around those corners. Look at that. Alright, very cool. Okay, so what I think the ultimate solution here is going to have to be moving these factories over a little bit, but let's get our step conveyor ready to go back this way. And we'll get a container built. So we're going to say goodbye to this section. This is going to be slow. We're probably going to have to connect a couple of these together and extend down the line. Meaning that probably all 4 of these are going to go for strictly iron until the research is done. And then we can go back to just making iron ore and shipping it out to the glorious nation of Raptoria. Alright, we do need a container here to pick this up. Like that. Oh boy. Well, we could do it this way. Oh, nope. We're out of space. Outer space. We outer space. Darn. If I go a little further down, I might be able to make an S-bend that moves it all the way to the wall and gives space for a little bit more of a container there. Like this. If we go all the way to the wall, that makes space for a container. Although I don't know if it can fill on that last piece, so I think actually it would have to go here. I think the last piece needs to be straight, but I don't know if it would consider this piece to be straight at the very end. So there we go. Come on, let's go ahead and get rid of some of this minecart here. And see if we can fit in our container. I can hardly container myself, really. We need the container to be on this side then. So then we would need this to happen. We would need the container to pick up from here. And then we would need it to drop off there. Uh-oh. Only connect to straight tracks. I knew it. Oh, yep, okay. So we needed to go even one more back. So then we can put it up against the wall. Oh, wait a minute. Actually, Does that check out? Oh, we need a little bit more, oh, wait a minute. If we do this, we complete the turn, have it go to the right. Ah, the ramp. The ramp is like 4 spaces, and that's what kills us. It needs to go... needs to scoot in one more, so we need to move the minecart down a little bit more. That was good. That was a good guess onto where it would be. We weren't too far off on that. So just to make sure, let's go ahead and use all the space here. Just to make sure we give it every single little bit of space we can. Build our door on the second floor. Uh-oh. There's a problem. We can't build in between. We have to build where they want us to. Where's our first, oh, we can only build it next to it then. So I can only build here. I can't build on the concrete supports for the building itself. Oh boy. Wow, look at everything go. This is so satisfying. Even though that one's just running in circles, sometimes I feel the same. Alright, let's go this way. We'll complete the turn. And the S-bend. Damn, it's off by 1. I need that space! And we can't go any closer to the wall. Well, we could probably do it again. Just trial and error till we get it right. We'll S-bend here then to go over this track. I think we'll have to S-bend twice. Let's complete the turn then before we do it incorrectly again. Wait a minute. I wonder why it won't let me build in through the can't build there, but no reason why. Ah, maybe the turn is too tight. There's only 2 types of turns, unfortunately. So that's going to be too long. The S-bend will be too long. Come on, baby. Go up to level 2 on this one. I think that's where the ramp needs to begin. Oh man, if we do this, that dinosaur brain's paying off. There we go. Yep, I think that's where we want it to be. I put a lot of holes in my factory, but it's just ventilation, you know. It's all good. The trial and error memorial facility. I think the turn will be too tight. Yep, that research center will be in the way. No, it actually works. Wow, okay. It barely goes over the research center, but I think we might have it now. All I got to do is move this facility over here now. Or the container, sorry. What I could do is have this pump out from here, and then pull up from here, have the conveyor belt go underneath, and then just drop off to a unload station. Excellent! Should be able to pick it up on the next one, I think. Ah, there it goes. Holy crap, he did it. I was going to dislike this video, but then he almost managed to possibly do something. Yes, same here, viewer. Alright, so now the research centers can start processing iron ore rather than coal, and it'll eventually make its way through the system. It's already being gobbled up, probably. It'll take a while for them to get everything that they need, and I might be able to extend the minecart by maybe 1. Let's see if we can actually get 2 under there. Might be able to do it. Let's see. Well, just 1, it seems. Let's see how that works. Looks like it's only getting one. This one's off. Oh, it's, yeah, 2 carts are not good for it. We'll have to remove a cart. So it can only function if there's 1 cart. And it'll function faster if I would delete that little extra section, so that should do it. Let's see if it actually... Oh, it can get under there. Perfect. And then let's see if it goes here. Excellent. All right, guys, that's it for today's episode. Thank you very much for joining me. I'll see you guys next time for more of this fantastic game. We're going to go ahead and make sure that iron ore is accepted, and we're good to go. All right, I'll see you next time. Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for leaving a like and supporting me.